So today it's going to be working on more of the office project as usual. Um, However, my brain is completely fried because we've been working on a big project at work. So I would be a complete failure right now if I tried to code. So I am going to not do that. And instead I'm going to go do a little bit of, I think, like storyboarding, research, design. So I'm going to try to work on the part of this story that comes before all the main chunk of Dataviz stuff. And I've kind of forgotten what I was going to do, but at least I wrote myself a manifesto a long time ago. So I'm going to try to sort of follow that and see how it works. But I also did not announce I was streaming today until like 10 minutes beforehand, so this may just be one for the YouTube. But yeah, I'm just going to hang out here, be pretty chill, ask any questions if you have them, let me know if everything's fine, and I guess I will just get started. So the way this project is right now, it has, I'm going to sort of like, I'm actually just going to copy some of these things over to here for now, and I will probably want to move them eventually, but this is basically just storyboarding so that I can get an idea of what the flow is going to look like. So I have the hero that I designed a long time ago, which is going to change. Because I changed the title of this to That's What He Said. And this may change as well because it's so long and hard to read. But what's going to go in here is a section on story. So if you've been following along, you know that this is all about sort of these linguistic mistakes that Michael makes during the office. And my plan is to present those in this sort of data visualization here, interactive, where you can just like watch the video and see all the associated info. But I wanted to put a section where I'm actually going to do a little more analysis maybe and talk a little bit more about the research behind this and stuff, and give more background also for people that want it. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. And importantly, I think this section will be kind of like optional almost. Maybe not like completely optional, but I'm going to have a short little introduction, and then I think it will kind of have like a diverging path for people that just want to see the content or people that want to know more about the story. So the way the flow of this thing works is we start out here. People will scroll down to this probably. And then I'm going to have something here that starts out like this. Oh, actually, that reminds me, since I'm going to have a clip of one of Michael's things here, I should probably leave this like that. And I'm just jumping right into this because I've been working on this project for ages, but if you have any questions about like, what the hell is this project? What are you talking about? None of this makes sense. Go ahead and ask them, drop those questions in the chat. I am more than happy to answer it. So this is what I meant. I think it's basically just going to start with a very simple explanation of what I'm actually showing, so that like people that have no context or like have never seen the show can get a little bit out of this project maybe. Although I assume that like honestly, if you've never seen the show, this is not going to be very interesting to you. But this is just to give people the bare minimum they need to understand the rest of this. So it's going to start out, it's going to say something like, Michael Scott is known for bungling common idioms, mixing metaphors, and misattributing quotes, often in completely ridiculous ways. And then that's going to be where this clip comes in, giving an example. I'm wondering if I should give a little bit more background about the show, like maybe people don't even know who Michael Scott is. That's probably that's probably a good thing to talk about. So perhaps I will do that. Question is like how to describe Michael from The Office. Like, do you describe him as the main character? Is he just the boss? Is he like, because like I'm trying to figure out a very concise way to get all the information I need in there without so something like should I say like debuted something in like 2000 and when did The Office debut? 2004? God, that seems so long ago. Is that right? I don't know. That seems incredible. That seems like such a long time ago. That's a guess, by the way. I'm just kind of pulling that out of my head. I don't know if that's actually true. We'll say over 9 seasons, it became I'm also just exaggerating and making this up. Perhaps that'll be like the first paragraph that comes out. And then something else will come in with the clip. I don't know. There's no hook there. That's the issue with this intro. None of this actually matters. Maybe I'll just put this over here. I think none of this matters because this isn't really a project about like this part, I guess, or like the background that you need to know isn't really about The Office. It's about like this particular running gag, and it's about Michael Scott. Maybe it just starts like something like that. Yeah, and then it's gonna play the clip. And I also think, by the way, like I'm still debating if this is actually, the interface is actually gonna be scrolling or tapping. It might be a tapper. So like the way I have this designed right now is that all of these panels are sort of self-contained. And so that would lend itself well to the kind of interface where rather than scrolly telling, you're gonna just like tap to advance to the next screen. So that's a possibility we could do here. And then this is going to show a clip from the show, one of the misquotes, to give people an example. So what's the next thing? So I want to get across that this is a running gag. Oh, why is this not the right font? I thought I meant to switch this to Helvetica. Oh, it's because I copied and pasted from over here. Got it. Yep. Okay. So then the next panel is just going to be showing that like a lot of these errors are very common. So this is sort of getting at the point of like why, if there's a reason that someone would care about this project beyond just the fact that they like The Office and it's funny, it would be because they're interested in like linguistics and psychology and like why these things happen and why we make these mistakes. And part of that is that you may have made some of these mistakes yourself. Like I know that as I was collecting all the data, there were several times that I noticed like, oh, I didn't know that was an incorrect way to say that. I've actually been saying that wrong all along. So the question is where to put the split for people that want more information versus people that just want the content. I'm thinking that maybe this is actually getting into more of people that want the information, and I'm wondering if I should just make the split here. So people say, okay, so in TV for The Office, the character of Michael Scott is known for bungling common idioms, mixing metaphors, and misattributing quotes, often in totally ridiculous ways. And this is just fake copy. This will probably change. I think there needs to be a section where I explain what I did. So like what I'm thinking is a section where I go through, or I say something like, I explain, like I went through and collected, I was curious about these, so I went through and collected every example that I could find from the show, and compiled them into one giant database, and tagged them by type of error and all this stuff. And then I'll say like, if you want to know more about these errors, click here. If you don't care and you just want to see the content, click here. So that's what I'll put here. I'm thinking maybe there's like an illustration here or something. Yeah. Yeah, this is okay. So then I'm going to say what I started noticing. So so besides recording the errors, I'm also going to say I also figured out what he meant to say. So something about this, as I went through this exercise, as I did this, as I recorded, maybe? something like this. So I'm trying to get across one time the psycholinguistics rabbit hole, and maybe it's just a cliffhanger here. I'm trying to think if I should give more detail at this point, or if I should just be like, and what I found was interesting, ... Yeah, maybe it'll just be something like that. And then what I'll do here is, first of all, I'm gonna put some colored things behind these whenever I say like misquote or like whatever it is. I'm gonna choose a color for that. And ooh, did I choose colors for these already? Pretty sure I did. Okay. These are not the colors I chose. Where's my colors? Here's some colors. Okay. Doesn't really matter if I actually have the right color. This is not important. Okay, so something like that. And yes, these are all going to have very square edges because that's Windows 95 aesthetic. So that's what we get. Okay, so then this is where the split happens. So this is where there's going to be something that's like, I want to know more about the psycholinguistics thing. And that's probably not actually the wording that it'll say, but that's basically the point. And then the other thing will be, I just want to see all the funny quotes. And these will be in pitch. But they will be in pitch medium? Yeah. This is too much line height. Maybe they'll be center aligned. Okay. Actually, I'm wrong. These aren't going to be in pitch because these are going to be buttons. Interesting. Yeah, they're going to be buttons. Okay. What do buttons look like in Windows 95? And we're not necessarily trying to like copy this exactly, but we're just trying to be inspired by it. Okay, cool. How would a big button look that has a lot of text in it? Because all these just say like, yes, no, okay. Maybe it doesn't matter, and what I can do is just have like these labels exist and I can make like a different sort of button for something else, maybe. That might be a good idea. Yeah. And I'm not going to try too hard right now in Figma to make this design look precisely like Windows 95. And the reason is that I actually sort of find it easier to do that in code. Because I already made a component in Figma with CSS that looks sort of like this window, with all these like this thing, like see how these weird like border insets and like beveled edges and stuff. Yeah. So I already did that in CSS, and so I don't really want to try to redo it in Figma and take a bunch of time. So I'm just going to kind of cheat, and then I will actually make it look nice with code. It could also be something like this, like a choose your own a checkbox, and then you say show me or something. I kind of like that idea actually. Maybe that's the that's what we do here. Yeah, I like that idea. I said I wasn't going to do too much design, but because I think it's hilarious, I do have to do this little dotted inside line thing. The focus state, I suppose it is. Why can I not do dashes on this? Oh, dash gap. I don't know why I'm spending time on this, but maybe I need to do some more dashes. Or bigger dashes is what I meant. Yeah, that's right. Nice. And of course we need this, very important. Cool. Okay, so this is our little choose your own adventure thing. I think it's pretty fun. I'm into it. Let's just like move all this over here a little bit so this looks slightly more centered. Except I realized that Okay, no more finagling. This works. This seems good to me. So I think then what I'll do here is, so then this either goes to here or it goes to here. And now I'm going to start going down from here. Put all this junk over here. Okay, I think we're done with the clip for now. So the next point is about how psychologists and linguists have long studied these linguistic hiccups and why we make them. They can be classified into several types. Maybe this part isn't necessary. Psychologists and linguists have long studied this reason why we make them. I think that comes later, actually. Put that over here as a maybe for later. I'm just going to say the various linguistic hiccups can be classified into several types. For example, a similar sounding word in an idiom and it results in a nonsensical phrase. That's a malapropism. So one thing that I was going to do here is show this, or a version of this, which is like this tree diagram that I made of the different types of linguistic errors that you can make. So let's take a look at this for a second. So basically this is like a bifurcating tree. And it's split at the root into linguistic errors and non-linguistic errors. And then from linguistic errors, it goes into the different language types or the different types of speech errors that you can make. And then there's some further classifications, but at this point it gets a little fuzzy. So like you can see under phonological mistakes, there's all these different like mispronunciation, eggcorn, metathesis, malapropism, spoonerism, which I think spoonerism is actually a type of metathesis. So this is something I still need to do research on because if you remember, one of my favorite streams that I did was with June, who was a linguistics PhD student, psycholinguistics PhD student, who basically schooled me on what all these things mean and helped me classify all these misquotes in the first place. And so he's the one that suggested this breakup of sort of linguistic, non-linguistic, and then the parts of speech. But I want to see if I can I want to make sure that this is, I know this is correct, but I want to figure out this next level and see if some of these can be placed more accurately. And then I want to also be able to size each of these. I like the idea that I had written down here, which is make a tree diagram and then size each of the nodes by the frequency with which they occur in the data. So linguistic and non-linguistic would each be a node that is sized according to the data. So I have to think a little bit about how I would do this. I don't think this last one really goes in here even. Yeah, so something like this. Oops. And then even a further classification, perhaps, for the phonological ones. And I don't know exactly how this chart is going to look yet. Why is this one darker? Huh, it just looks darker. Interesting. So yeah, it's going to be something like this, I think, with like lines that go between each of these. To think about how these lines are going to work. Maybe they should be like straight lines. They could also be squares, because everything's supposed to be squared off in this design. We'll see. Not an important point. Chart design will come later. Purposes. And then the same thing will happen down here. Cool. And maybe there'll be some, you know, the number that happened or something. All made up numbers, of course. Okay. Basically is the point. And then I think the idea will be if you hover over these, you can see more information about the type of error. That's one possibility. I'm going to make a note to myself here. So So my question here is, how do we define these? So each of these, like the point of this chart is to show like the different ways that errors can be classified, but it's also to show what each of the errors actually means, like what is a phonological error versus a semantic error, and how do you know which one is which? Ooh, I just got another idea. So I'm thinking either the definition of each one shows up on hover, or it's annotated somehow, like just with a box of text that's always there, or that the annotation shows up here somehow. The other idea that I really like would be is that each time you hover or click on, probably click, you don't want this to happen when you hover, but like each time you click on one of these bubbles, it plays a clip that's an example of that type of error. So you click on semantic and I'll have a database where I have them tagged, like this is the example of semantic error because it's a really obvious one. And then maybe that's also like the definition will show up if you do that. I like that idea. So maybe there's like a little place here where there's a clip. In fact, I'm just going to design that screen right now. Why not? Because I think that's the idea that I like the best. And this will all be kind of difficult. Like I have to think about how to space all this out. I don't know how this is all going to be spaced yet. This is all just random layout right now. Maybe this does just stay here, I guess. Okay. And then our text box is going to be like 24. Oh boy. My amateur Figma usage is really showing right now. Okay. So I think there would probably be a text box here, and it would be the type of text box that's like, not that. Maybe it's a post-it note. That's a good idea, right? It's either a post-it note or it's that, or it's a pop-up. Like, what does a pop-up look like on Windows 95? Yeah, I like. Okay, so maybe it looks like this. Here's what it looks like. I'm just going to shrink this whole chart to make this all fit. By the way. God, okay. This is really difficult to like only select the things I want here. Okay, more stuff that's not important. So this is gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. My beloved cute little button is gone. And then this pop-up is here. And it says something like this. And I have some definitions already here, so this is way too long of a definition. The one I want is this one. Okay, this is the way to properly build anything, is with extreme shortcuts. So this is what happens on the click of a bubble. It is going to pull up both the definition of the thing and also the clip that exemplifies that thing. And then there'll be a button somewhere to like move on. Okay. So what did I write here? Yeah, this is the part where I think I ran out of information and I needed to research more and I didn't. So let me just see what I have. Again, that's just not necessary. Okay, so psychologists have hypothesized that some of these errors arise from X, Y, and Z causes. There's also theories on why we find these mix-ups so funny. For example, an acorn might be funny because of the creative subversion of an expected phrase. Misattribution of quotes has become so common in the internet age that it has spawned a whole meme subculture of people Sharing purposely misattributed or made up quotes for comedic effect. Picture of purposeful misquote. Yeah, I like that. So the big thing that I need to actually figure out is why we make these errors, which I think I'm gonna have to go back and look at some stuff that June sent me, because, and like he even talked, I think when he was on the stream, about like all the psychological theories behind why we make these errors, and his area was more like brain science, and so that's actually probably really useful, the stuff that he sent me, because he was saying things like, oh, the reason, like the definition of an eggcorn is like you reach for, it's like something where like you reach for one thing and then like it accidentally comes up with another phrase or something, and there's like a reason why your brain does that. And he actually had some cool diagrams and stuff that explained that, so I think that's where these go. And then, so right here I'm just gonna write like, look at diagrams that June sent you and remake perhaps with some explanation text. So I think that's where we put those. And then I do need to do like this whole like thing about an eggcorn being funny because of that. That's something that I read somewhere, but I forget where. So I think I will have to look up a little bit more about the like humor side of it, because that's something that I know there is some research, but not a lot. And I don't remember any of it. So I definitely have to look all of that up and figure that out. But then that's basically the end of this section of the story. And then at this point, it'll just go to here. So it'll be like, something like this, and then there'll be a, you know, move to the next screen prompt, and maybe something else funny here. But yeah, that's basically it. I think this was good. I think I like this direction. I like the idea of like you have, you know, like 1 or 2 panels of explanation, and they're like short little blocks of text, and I can shorten these way more because I was just writing randomly. So I like the idea that there's just a very small amount of front matter, and then you basically, you know, go deeper or to just see the data, because I feel like I'm catering to two very different audiences with this piece, where one, like, I made it with people like myself in mind who are like, you know, super fans of The Office and don't like, you know, maybe they just want to see all the funny quotes and they don't care about the other stuff. Although I do care about the other stuff too. But then for people that either are really into the linguistic stuff or are not super into The Office or not super familiar with it, they will probably get more out of like that side of things. And so I think this is a good way to serve both people as much as possible, to whatever extent it is possible. And then I also want to design a few more things, not tonight because I think I'm going to be done now, but things that I still need to design would be like, and something that comes after this, like some outro kind of information. It might be sort of some summary charts or stuff. Oh, okay, cool. Hell on Earth is. Hell on Earth is says, oh yeah, the science of the other stuff is very interesting. Cool, okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting too. And I wish I had those diagrams that June sent me. I have to look them up and have them ready for next time. Because he sent me like this really, like a whole PowerPoint presentation about like why we make these things and like all the stuff that happens in your brain that leads to you saying something that you didn't mean to say, basically. So there's lots of stuff about that that I definitely want to include in here and see if I can include some diagrams and stuff too. And then you can go to the main content and then there'll be like outro, about page, all that good stuff. But yeah, this was nice. I think I'm happy with this, and I can start designing all this stuff probably once I finish like the main interactions on the main page for the code, which hopefully I will get to eventually. I keep saying I'm going to get to it next week, so I don't know if I'm going to get to it next week. I'm not going to promise anything this time, because who knows, maybe next week I will be equally as exhausted and brain fried and not able to code. But hopefully soon I will get back to coding and finish up all the interactions for this part. But thank you very much to everybody that watched. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I will see you here next week, same time.